We're going live. All right. You want me to wait till somebody pops in?
Okay.
I don't know how to fix it. There you go.
All right. So I want to welcome everybody to this week's episode, this month's episode of Marriage Circle. I am Yemi. This is my lovely wife, April. And we're also joined by my lovely niece.
I'm Beauty.
And my big head nephew.
Beans. We go with the joke.
You know I love my nephew. And so we're here today. We're going to talk about the purpose of a husband. And this is something that I think we need to, as men, really tackle. And, Beast and I were talking about this a little bit earlier before we came on. Just to give a little bit of clarity to our purpose as men, because I think a lot of times when we get into marriages and into relationships, I think people lose the point or miss the mark and don't really understand what their purpose is as a husband. And a lot of times we and I have to be honest, I think a lot of times we don't really understand because we don't have people around in our corner to really show us how to be husbands. And so you're letting people try this out by actually trial by fire in a lot of cases. So it's good to have somebody that's in his marriage, through the good times and the bad times, the struggles, and roughing it out, and men that are willing to discuss this thing. And if you have anything that you want to discuss or any questions that you want to ask of either one of us, please place it in the chat. We will try to get with you and try to answer your questions as they come up. So I'm going to let Beauty and Beast Journey go ahead and discuss what they feel like the roles of a husband are. So go ahead, Beast.
Well, as a kid, I didn't have that as in my household. So what I seen was my grandfather and my grandmother. All I seen him was go to work as a provider, a communicator, a listener, a lover, loving on his wife. So that's was my interpretation as a husband role. Because as a kid, mom wasn't married. My pops wasn't married. Longer down, the older I got, my mother got married a little later in life, and I watched her husband and how my mom interact with each other, and I was learning certain things out for him as a husband, and what I seen as a kid with my grandmother and grandfather, I seen with my mom and stepdad. So with me, one was a provider, a listener, communicator, and just a shoulder to lean on when the wife is having her own issues.
That's good. What about you, Beauty?
My interpretation on what a husband is a provider and a protector. That pretty much sums it up for me. To be a provider, a protector, a good listener, a comforter. That's pretty much all I can think of on what a husband is, because my mom wasn't married at all. I was raised by a single mother, and I watched my grandfather and my grandmother, and they died when my grandfather passed when I was really young. So I can only go by from what I remember with them and a lot of stuff. And then looking at one of my older brothers growing up, which he mimicked a lot after my grandfather. Even to this day, he still reminds me of my grandfather. and he showed me what a man is and how he's supposed to be. Because my brother, it's not a day that goes by that he feels like he has to work, he has to provide, he has to keep a roof over his head. You know what I'm saying? So these new modern day dudes, I don't know. I'm being honest because we was just on Facebook and somebody did like a joking, I guess it was like a skit on TikTok, and the guy was just like saying what you got to do to get a girl is when the first time you decide to lay down with her, you go to her house and do it. Then you fall asleep. If you wake up the next day and she got to go to work and she leaves you there, you stay there. Then you do it again that next night. If she do it again, then guess what? You move in. And they say, so it's like
You see he's laughing. Yeah.
it's like
Didn't leave the house.
you go get you some clothes, but leave the door unlocked so you can get back in.
You cook up hamburgers and stuff.
Yes.
The lies are real.
Is it a lie? That is the question.
Yeah, so for me, it's like a man is a provider, a protector, you know, somebody that, you know, nobody can go against his wife. Nobody. You know, I was even reading another thing where it was saying it's true because a woman should never, ever feel like as if another woman can come to you and tell you what your man done did, period. Because if you being a man and you doing what you supposed to do, another woman will never come up to another woman and tell her nothing about her man. Because guess what? You doing what you're supposed to do as a man, and you protecting your wife, and you making sure you keeping her covered. Period. Nobody can talk about your wife to you. You know, that's what I imagine what a husband is. Oh, wait a minute, I got to drink my cocktail too. Is it cocktail hour?
Cocktail hour. And beer.
And off the screen and back on. What about you, baby?
What was the question?
Don't play.
I guess what a husband to me is a person that is your overall person. Like, no matter what, like James said, good times, bad times, when you're going through things together, whether it's a loss of a loved one or y'all are having problems, that y'all work it out together. And that he gives you comfort so that you know that everything's gonna be okay through it all. Person that makes you laugh, because nothing better than having a relationship with a man that keeps you happy for one, but also makes you laugh. You know, laughter is the key to happiness to me, in my opinion. So definitely had to have a person that made me laugh most of the time, even when I don't want to. Because he did it the other morning. I was like, dude, you gotta quit playing. Stop playing with me.
I do.
I was like, it's too early for that. But even when you don't feel like it, that person that still shows you love, and that that can brighten up your day when you're not having a great day, you know. Also, a provider, but one that you're not always gonna be at the point where you don't need anything, but you should feel like the person eventually is going to have everything for you, and that you won't have any worries later on, you know. And even if he doesn't, as long as he's working towards the goal, then you know you feel safe, you feel provided for, you feel that he has your best interest at heart. What else? I don't either.
This is you.
I'm thinking about it.
This is you talking.
Stop talking. I was gonna say something else. Boy, don't get old. Mine is the first thing to go. Just yeah, that's pretty much it. Just that person. That is your overall person. Like he's your everything. So when you having a bad day, you should be able to go say, "Hey, honey, this is what happened at work today," and he sit there and listen to you, and then he be like, "Yo, don't let them people bother you. Don't worry about all that." And he be your person that you go and talk to, and you know you have your girlfriends and you talk to them or whatever, but the first person that you should is your husband. Like that should be your go to person, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And he should want to hear about what your problem is or what concerns you have with him or other people in general. Now, grant you, when you first tell him about him, he don't want to hear it. But then but then after he thinks about it, I think after you give him time to let it sink in and think about what you actually feel, then come back and then we work on it. We talk about it. We do whatever we can to fix whatever problem you feel like you're having. And back to beauty. Beauty, yes, your uncle did do that. Your uncle did come to my house, and I did leave him at my house when I went to work, and he did stay.
It ain't left yet.
He did stay.
Day one.
So yes,
Yeah,
it does
it's
happen.
funny because they saying that's the game. That's what you got to do now. So you acting like these new modern day dudes, y'all.
Well, that was 15 years ago. He was ahead of the game.
I was ahead of the game. I was a trendsetter. Shoot, they learned from me. Hey, no, I ain't follow. Hey, I'm cut out of a whole different cloth. They following me. Shoot. Look, since I'm the resident married dude, and I done been married 3 times, and I done messed it up quite a bit. I had both my parents in the house all my life. Well, from the majority of my life, she did too. I had both. One set of my grandparents were married. My dad's mom wasn't. So I'm gonna tell you like this. I come from a long line of hoes. Okay, and she's gonna agree with you. My dad. Well, let's start with my grandfather, my mother's side. My grandfather on my mother's side was a provider. That's what he was. He paid the bills. He made sure that my grandmother was straight. He did everything that he could do for her. But was he monogamous in his line of thinking? No. And they lived in a town that was so damn small, everybody knew everybody's business. But my grandmother stuck with that joker. She didn't go well. Now my dad, on the other hand, for the hell that my mama gave that man, he was an upright dude. And cuss like a sailor. And I understand why.
Me too.
And he showed me what love was. But I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a lot of times growing up, I didn't think my parents loved each other. And to be honest with you, it wasn't until about probably we were married about 3 or 4 years when my mother had a heart attack, and she had to get a triple bypass, and dad stayed at that hospital for 4 months or 3 months. I'm sorry, and he was there every day, all. And that's when I knew what love was and what a husband was.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have nothing to do with me and my sister. See, the providing for us was the stipulation of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because we were just a part of what came along with the being married, but his
Mhm.
loyalty was to her. And I think in the long run, um, I honestly felt like that was the beginning of the end for my father. But he showed me that in spite of everything, because I remember I told him, I said, Daddy, go home. I'll stay up here today. You go home and get some rest. And he said, no, that's my wife. She may be your mother, but she's my wife. And it's my job to be here. And that kind of sunk into me. And those were the lessons that I brought into this marriage that I didn't have in my other. You know, these are some of the things that I embrace now. Now I'm still effed up now. Don't get it twisted. I'm still jacked up. But those are the things that I learned about being a man from a man. And I think it wasn't any of the talks that my daddy had with me that stuck to me. It was that one day, that action that stuck with me and showed me what a husband truly was. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'd have been at the house taking a shower. He was musty. He ain't had no hair. You know, my dad didn't have no hair at the top. And he had that bicycle bar, you know, the handlebars.
That's what.
And he got good hair. You know, he had that kind of that 2C, you know, that kind of wavy stuff. And it was nappy. And I was like, Dad, go home and take a shower. Do something. And I'll stay with her all day. You just take care of you. And he was like, man, I'm going to go take a shower. I was like, thank you. But,
He said, "Thank you."
but I'll be back as soon as I take a shower. And you call me and let me know if the doctors say anything. Because my mom was in a coma. They had her in a coma. Yeah, drug induced coma. So yeah. That's
And she
what
pulled through.
yeah, she pulled through and she was good for about 3 months. She started back on them damn selling like 100s. And at that point, my dad was like, I don't know why I sat at the hospital with you all them days. You gonna sit back up here and kill your dang self. I could have been at the golf course at the horse races. Oh shoot. That joker told me one day, hey, go get this number for me at the horse track and let me know what happened. I'm like, man, I'm not going to that damn racetrack to play no number. Boy, go play it. I'm like, okay, I'll go play. All right. So now that we understand how we feel about a husband or what we think are, I just want to say this biblically, a husband is one, it comes from the Hebrew word akar. And this word akar means to actually one who digs. He's one who digs into the soil to prepare it for something. And women, and I always want to tell women this one thing. Men, when you look at a woman, you should be looking at ground to plant something in. Don't think nasty when I'm talking to you. You should look at her as something to deposit into to receive a return. I don't care if you deposit your hopes. I don't care if you deposit your dreams. I don't care if you deposit your money. You are to be looking for soil that is fertile. And people always say, and it ain't even about children. It's all about your hopes, your dreams. I wouldn't have made it out of college if it wasn't for her. It's a fact. and my oldest daughter and her. I not have made it out of college because she's the one that showed me how to study for that last test so I could get out of school. Because I took that man class 3 times. He was dead set on failing me over his girlfriend. Long story. I'm not going to explain it, but a long story. You know, you need to look at a woman as an asset. She is the most important thing that you have. And realize this, that when the Father made everything, he pulled it out of his words. He made everything out of his words except woman. She is the only thing that came from something that was already made. Shalom, Mikey. She's the only thing that came out of something that was pulled. Woman was pulled from man. And so when a man, she is made to hold those things that a man gives her. And so ladies and gentlemen, when you're a husband, your husband, when you look at a husband, ladies, you ought to look at, do I want him to deposit anything into me? Do I want him to dig into me? Because we need to be able to know that you're that fertile soil that we can trust. And women, you need to know that we're going to care for you, nourish you, fertilize you, pull the weeds out, get the rocks out, all those things that bother you, all those things that make you uncomfortable. We ought to be there to do that. Now, I'm not perfect. And I miss. Ooh, I miss. 90% of the time, I miss. And I'm lucky that I have somebody that has allowed me to grow. Because in the beginning, there was things I could do physically that I can't do now. But now there are things financially that I couldn't do then. And so I made her parents some promises, and I'm able to I'm able to fulfill those promises. And I was glad that I was able to, before her mama passed, that I was able to do those things that I promised her mom. I promised her mom I was going to put her in the house. I promised her mom I was going to build a house from the ground up and put her daughter in it. Those were some of the things that I knew that I wanted to do for her. And it was something that I wanted to do because they entrusted me with something that was valuable to them. So that's why I say when I look at myself as a husband, I always say that word, a car. You know, I'm one that digs. I'm one that plows. I'm one that digs into the soil. I try to find that thing that I can deposit into, and even into her hopes and dreams. She's going back to school to be a nurse. It was my goal to make it to where she could go back. And so those are the things that a husband is supposed to do. And if you're not making this better, we're not even talking about the kids. That's a whole different lineup. We talking about this because your first responsibility to this. People don't get it nowadays. They put their kids in front of their marriage. You can't do that. Them jokers gonna leave. Sometimes they leave and they come back, but but this comes before the kids because this is my soil. The kids are my seed. So, they may be my seed, but without the soil, what good are they? And that's what people tend to forget. If you neglect the ground, what the seed gonna turn out to be?
Mm-hmm.
You got them angry mothers mad at the husband because he ain't worth a dang. He ain't did right. And now the seed done came up corrupted because he ain't doing his part. Or this is when I had a woman that gotta work and the man stay at the house. And then the man sitting up there wondering, why the woman don't love him or why the kids don't respect him. Because you done switch roles. She the one doing the depositing, so she need to have the tool to deposit.
Absolutely.
You know, you need to have the tool to be receptive. You know, so you what's up, Courtney? You can't come into a relationship and swap roles. I see this a whole lot.
Hi, Bobby.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, Bobby.
I see this a whole lot in relationships now, especially since I work in the medical field because we got a lot of female doctors, and they husbands stay at home and watch the kids.
That's gonna be James.
So I'm not saying that. Stay at home and watch the dogs. I'm gonna still provide. You know, it just burns me. It doesn't burn me up, but you know, when you give the woman your role and you take her role, you take those comes along with her role. So when she starts, right? So when she starts depositing in you, you better be able to take it.
But you know what? The funny part about it is this: I love being a woman. It's like why would you want to hand that over to a man?
Right.
I like being a woman. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes us as women, because we got a certain structure on how we do things, you know, it kind of probably come off to men like, oh, you think you run it that? No, it's like, look, this is what we need to focus on. This is what it is. If we do it this way, then I'm telling you. But sometimes when I do that, of course, over here, he goes the opposite way. And then I go, okay, I'll let it be. I'll let it be. And then all of a sudden he has to come right back around over here. And I said,
it's just the nature of a man. That's what it is.
But
you listen to you, but we're gonna do it our way and be like, hey, I messed up. Hey,
we move different too. We move different. And, and so what happens, see, men are hunters by nature. Women are not hunters. So they're nurturers.
Yes.
So we have to go out.
Hey, Anisha.
Hey, what's going on? We have to go out and explore. And sometimes this means we got to take a lump or two. And then when we come back and see that there was an easier way to do it, then we'll think we were wrong. You may have already sat up there and calculated it, but we feel like you couldn't have done it. So we just got to go out there and see if we can put our hand on it. She tell me to do something. For the most part, I'm gonna do it now because I'm crippled. but boy, when both of my legs work, now that I got one leg that work and the other one drag a little bit, oh no, what she say go.
So I wanted to go back. So like you said, I grew up with both of my parents. And I also grew up with both of my grandparents for the most part. My dad's mom was married a few times, and but the last one, so the last one, so my dad's mom finally got married probably in her late 60s. Early 70s, something like that.
She got married then?
Yes. Okay, so let me tell you about my grandmother.
I know that's right.
My grandmother was she was very British, we'll say, but she was like a militant at the same time, which was crazy. But it was not. But yes, so she wasn't married for a long time. So she was married to my grandfather, then they got divorced, then she married her youngest son's dad, and then they got divorced. And then she wasn't married for a long time. Like I said, she was very militant, and and very, very religious. I don't know, two things that don't really go together. But finally she got married at like I said, late 60s, early 70s, or something like that. Um, and it happened to be a white man. Not that something I couldn't see my grandma doing, but she did it, and she loved him. They loved each other. He took very good care of her. She didn't need or want anything. He took pictures of her all the time. Made her beautiful. Made her feel beautiful. So that's what she needed. My grandparents on my mom's side were married for 60 some odd years. 61, I want to say 61 years. My grandfather took care of everything. When I say everything, when he passed away, my grandma was like, I don't know how to do anything. She did not drive. She did not pay bills. She did nothing. She went to work only because she wanted to, not because she had to. He was definitely the provider, and she had 6 kids.
Kind of the good part about the money.
They were very wealthy because she used her money, put it away, and then he was in the military, and then he worked at the post office. So they had an abundance of money.
So she ain't touched none of her teachers.
Yeah, so she didn't use any of her money. Like, her money just went to the bank.
For 30
Unless she wanted to buy something for herself, then she went ahead and used her money, and she did it. She didn't have to. She used his money, but she wanted to buy stuff for herself. My parents were married for 41 years until my mom passed away. And from what I heard at the beginning, because I never knew. This is how good my dad took care of us and my mom. I never knew that they didn't have money, and neither did my friends, because they always thought we had money. They're like, "Oh, y'all rich." We lived on the other side of the town, not in the what we call the black neighborhood. We lived in the white neighborhood. Of course, I'm from a little town, so it really was a black neighborhood and a white neighborhood. We lived in the white neighborhood, which was closest to schools, all that stuff. So once again, my dad provided so well, even though we didn't know it. We were broke. But he provided so well that it didn't look like that. Like, nobody could tell that they were struggling, but they were. My aunt helped get the house. She helped provide for some of the bills and all that stuff. But to make a point that my dad took care of us so good, provided for our household so well that, like I said, we didn't know we were broke, and neither did my friends. My friends thought we was the richest people ever, and I was like, what? And they always wanted to be at our house because my parents were cool. They were not normal parents, or I would say they weren't the normal, because I'm black, I only know what black parents are. They weren't the normal black parents. They weren't yelling at each other. They weren't angry at each other. They weren't, they like to have fun. They like to laugh. They like to have lots of kids around. They had lots of kids.
They didn't cuss.
They didn't cuss. We didn't see our parents fight until we got older. So I didn't know what that whole fighting thing with parents, like, there was none of that.
I did.
Like, there was no cussing. Which is why we're two different people, but the same, I guess. I did not know what a fight was between parents. Like I said, my dad was in the military too. So he was in and out kind of type thing. He did go to Saudi Arabia, and so he left us for like a year. So my mom did it by herself for a year. But with that being said, like I said, my parents, so I had three different groups of people that I watched as I grew up to understand what I think I understood, because like I said, they did fight. Now as I got older, I know they fight, or they fought. But growing up as a kid, I didn't see my grandparents fight. I didn't see my parents fight. So they kind of set that standard for me and what I was looking for in my marriage. Like, I don't fight with James because I don't have to. Because you can look at my face and tell what I'm thinking. So I shouldn't have to argue and fuss and fight with you as my husband. You should already know by looking at me.
You scared? Yeah.
He should be. Uh, so, but I had very good role models, is what I'm saying, men wise and women wise, on how. Now, my grandma did go the old boy with hers, talking about, oh, you need to rub his feet and lotion his feet and do all this and blah blah. I'm like, what? I do it now because I'm like, I can't let you go out like that. The ashiness is just beyond crazy. So I do it. I do it now. I didn't do it then. I do it now. But like I said, I had very good role models when it came to how relationships should go and how men should treat their wives and how wives should treat their husband. So it was a little bit easier for me, relationship wise, because I saw it all the time. You know, so
It was the opposite for me. The opposite for me, total opposite. And the reason being is because at some point I got a certain age and I realized and I looked around and I said something wasn't right.
right.
See, I didn't grow up with a father. My mama
Mhm.
didn't marry for me to even have a stepfather in the household. My mother, she grew up. Once I got a certain age, my mama stopped dating because she was at an age where she felt like, because I'm her only daughter, she was like, she didn't trust men.
Mm.
And she felt that if she brought a man into her home and she felt that he got out of pocket with me, she was going to end up in prison. So she avoided that whole thing once I reached a certain age, and it was to protect me.
Right.
You know, which to me, it could be one of the worst things you can do because now I'm grown and I'm married, and my mom is now not married and she's single at home alone. You know, so that can be a good thing and then it can turn into a bad thing as well. But in my case, because my mother grew up with both her parents in the household, she saw her mother and her father. She had that role model in the home. So for her, the decision she chose to make, you know, it was, I guess, easy for her. So she decided this is how she wanted to have her life. Yes, I had a mom and a dad, but I'm choosing to do it this way, you know, and that was fine. But I just remember my mother being like, and a lot of women, because a lot of the women in my family are strong women. It's a lot of women, and a lot of us, we kick back and we go, dang, where's y'all man at? But y'all got kids.
Mhm.
Where's man at? But y'all got kids. And they tell us, like, don't trust the man, don't this, don't that. So once I got a certain age, I looked around and I said, I don't want to be like y'all.
Okay.
I don't want to be like y'all. I said to my mother, you had your mother and your father. You chose your lifestyle the way you wanted it. Don't put that on me because I didn't get that opportunity like you did, you know, and I chose a different route. And that was a decision I made on my own. I decided to be the one to break the cycle. I said, this is not it. A man should not only be good enough for you guys, they was in your lives when y'all procreated, but now where they at? So and I feel God blessed me with boys for a reason. I have 2 sons to show me through my children how to raise them or try to raise them as much as I can as a woman to try to be a man because their daddy wasn't one. It's a different story. But I did the best that I can, and it showed me that men, they have feelings. They're sensitive. They're a lot more sensitive than women.
Mm-hmm.
They cry more. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Men are more emotional than
Yes.
women, a lot more emotional. And it showed me a whole nother side to men by raising my boys. And I looked at it differently than every other woman in my family who decided to take on this. I am woman, hear me roar. I got this. And I was like, that's not right because I wasn't created to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
This is not how it was supposed to be. Because when God made man, he made woman. So I took on a whole nother route and I did my own thing. And that's why I see marriage totally differently. My mama couldn't tell me about marriage because she had never been married. She
Mm-hmm.
only was raised with her mother and her father. I had to do this. What I'm doing is because, and that's why before we got married, we took on premarital counseling so we can learn each other. And we learn each other love language every day and trying to figure each other out. And I know how what it is that triggers my husband, and I'm sensitive to his feelings because a lot of women think, well, what about me, and my feelings like it is. What about you? But what about him too?
Right.
And I'm still even learning that by watching my son and his girlfriend go through certain things, and I go, I get where you coming from, but we got to kind of bring it to what do he feel?
Right.
My son out here working, he's providing, he's doing these things. You are supposed to make sure that the place when he comes home to should be a place of peace. It shouldn't be a bunch of chaos. He got to deal with all of that out there in the real world. So when he comes home, he should be able to have a place of peace. Because I make sure that with my husband, when he walks through the door, I'm not coming at my husband. What you doing? Why you, what for? I look at him. Hey, babe, give him a kiss. How was your day at work? He jumps in the shower. We have dinner. We watch a movie. It is what it is. Wake up, start the next day. Because I do believe in sometimes you have to, what you call it? You have, like they say, they think the grass is greener on the other side, but you got to water your own grass.
That's right.
You want your grass green, you got to make sure you water your own grass to keep it green. So yeah, that's where I'm at when it comes down to how I kind of figured this thing out with my marriage. Even though I went through all of that growing up, and I still decided it's life's a choice. I chose differently. I wanted to be the one to break the cycle in my family.
That's good.
Hey, Mr. Rail 2.0.
Hello.
Hey there. What about you, Lise?
It's just, I like it. I love being married. It slowed me down. Especially having girls. I got twin daughters. That's in
They're 23.
They're 23. So I want them to give them a great male role model, regardless of my past. So I want to show them something better for the future. Like married, settled down, not in these streets, not at every other chick house once a week. I'm home, working, providing, so they can see what a man is supposed to do for his woman.
Facts. I think the hardest thing for us as men is when we I was telling a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking, and I was trying to explain to her that when women look at men, they catch men in the wrong phases. And this is why relationships don't seem to work, because you catch the man in the wrong phase. And I believe that there's 4 phases of a man's development. And so there's a hunter phase. And this hunter, think about a hunter. He does not prepare for anything except for the hunt. And he doesn't have anything stored up. He eats what he gets that day. He may starve himself out, but he's on the hunt. And a lot of women find a man in the hunter phase and try to make him a husband. He ain't ready to be no dang husband. He's still on the hunt. So once he finishes devouring you, it's on to the next one. Then you got the gatherer. The gatherer, he's going to go and pick up nuts, fruits, and berries. But when they run out, he got to move around to the next place. He's better than the hunter because he ain't instinctive. He's going to be there. He's a seasonal type dude. You know what I'm saying? You know, but when it gets cold and there ain't no more nuts, fruits, and berries, he ain't got nothing saved up. He gonna move around to where there's greener grass. You see what I'm saying? He moves around with the seasons. Then you have the farmer. The farmer, the gardener. The gardener, he has a plan. He gets the nuts, the fruits, the berries, and he stores them up. And he's able to reproduce, so he doesn't have to go anywhere. But the problem is, if the storm comes and it destroys his harvest, his crop, will he ever have enough stored up? But then there's the almighty farmer. And women, you need to look for a farmer because a farmer has a little bit of all the tendencies. The farmer was smart enough to go on the hunt. And whatever he was hunting, he brought it back and domesticated it and put it in there where he could keep eye on it and keep it around the house. He was smart enough to plant fruits and vegetables so he didn't have to eat up all of his meat all at once. He bought enough land to tend to his cows and to his farm. And he doesn't have to move around at the seasons. He's good year round. And women don't look for farmers. They say farmers are square. They would, and when a woman looks at a man and she gets him in the wrong stage of life, she gets the problems that comes with the dude. You know, when you try to settle down a farmer, look, man, when you try to calm down a hunter, you gonna get bows and arrows. You gonna get slings and rocks thrown at you. You gonna get all the problems that come with a hunter. You gonna get other animals running into you. You gonna get them issues when you mess around with a gatherer. You know they joke. He here today. You ain't gonna hear from him no more. You gonna be texting him. It's gonna be on red because you know he gonna be moved around. You ain't gonna understand why because you done dried up. And even with the farmer, something bad gonna happen. I mean, the gardener, something bad gonna happen, and he ain't gonna know how to handle it. And a lot of women, I've been married 3 times, and I done been a gardener twice. Well, the first time I was still a hunter, but the second time I was a gardener. And when bad stuff happened, I ain't know what to do.
You bounced.
Yeah. I couldn't take it. I couldn't talk. I didn't know how to talk, and I bounced. But then eventually I had the farmer's mindset to where I didn't have the land. I want you to understand this. I didn't have the land. I didn't even have the resources. Luckily, I found a piece of land that I could pour my dreams into. Because that's all I was working with when I met this one. All I had was dreams and child support. All I had was dreams and child support. And I'm gonna tell you what was cool about this one. This one said if we could make it to when you get off child support, we'll be all right.
Oh, Auntie, you sound like me.
But you never carry my burden.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I just know once you get off, it's gonna be better.
We got 4 more years. No,
it's gonna be better.
3 more years.
Boy, I had a party the day that I came off. I didn't even know I was off. That's the crazy part. I looked at my check, and my check didn't look right. I thought it was a mistake. I went to HR. I'm like, this ain't right. And then they were like, yes, it is. Then I called the folks, and they were like, oh yeah, you're finished. You paid
Matter
your
of fact,
last payment.
you paid over what you was supposed to pay, so his money back.
I know you was happy.
Yeah,
I
I was
said the
happy.
same thing to John. Once it's done, it will be better. Yes. Once it's done, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to look back. Do your role. That's why I said, man, my son comes, oh man, I ain't paying no damn child support on that. I don't know if it's
Yeah, it's
right.
some men that's like that too.
You know what I told my son?
And the crazy part about it is women that condoles that too.
Okay.
And they turn around and they okay with that. Because I know of someone that way, and I said, look, if I was you, I'm gonna let them pay. Well, that's taken out of my household, and then and it's like, but guess what happens? Your child is gonna turn 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and they still gonna be on. I said, get it out the way. So when he turns 18, you're done. You do not want to be still paying for a 25, 30-year-old person some child support because you didn't do it in their younger years, because it's still going to accumulate. You still got to pay. It don't matter their age. You still got to pay all that back.
I put myself on child support because I wanted to beat that woman to the punch, because I knew if she got there before I did, she was going to get everything.
See, mine was like, I'm putting you on child support. I'm like, so do it. I ain't tripping. That's always been my motto. Like, go ahead, do it.
And I mean, you know, I've learned a lot because, and this is the reason why I don't mind giving to her, because she hustled during that time. And she put up with me leaving, going away to work so I could make more money, you know, stay away for a year and a half, you know, to make extra money so we could have a better life. And just so happened the Father has blessed us in the last 4 years to where now we're pretty much financially set. But if she was anybody else, it would have been like, I ain't trying to get that no money and blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I could have took it. And then she used to get on me like, you need to buy the kids gifts for this day, and you need to go get the kids stuff for their recitals and stuff like that. And if I didn't have the money, she would buy it.
Remember that's how we was when we first got married. Yeah. Taking the kids on trips.
That's what I don't mind.
I felt like it wasn't their fault. So you don't, just because you pay child support, they gotta live. So you know that's what that's for. But the rest of it, the extracurricular activities and stuff that they do, I feel like, because like I said, both my parents are there, so I had whatever I needed whenever I needed it. So we gonna pretend like you there too, and you gonna provide whatever they need whenever they need it. You know, that's just the way it is. That's how I felt about it. Because like I said, my parents did everything. Like we played. There were 4 of us growing up, and later on in life there were more than 4 because my parents allowed 3 to 4 to 5 guys and my brother in high school to move into the house with us. Because their household was kind of like y'all's. They had one parent. They, you know, either lived so far out in the country that, you know, it's hard for them to get back and forth because they only had one parent. But my parents were gracious enough to allow them to move into the house so that they could have that stability and to see how a family worked, and see how a dad provided for his family, and to see how a mom provided for her family with the dad there. So my parents were, like I said, very gracious, and one of them happened to be my boyfriend at the time. And when mom passed away, whole nother story. He only lived there for like 6 months, but because he was graduating. But he sent me a message to get to my dad after my mom passed away, and was like, because of him, I am the person that I am. And he showed me how to be a better man, and I was appreciative of that. And it showed me how to treat a wife, even though him and his wife got divorced. And my mom had a talk with him when he got ready to get married, like it was his kid. Like, even though we had broken up and went our separate ways, she still talked to him like that was her son, and how he needed to treat his wife. So, and he told me that too, and I was like, well, he's like, even though it didn't work out, but she did tell me when I got ready to get married, this is what you need to do with your wife. So, my parents were very vital in not only my relationships, but several other people's relationships, which, and that kind of helped me when it came to James, because James had children, lots of children. So lots of things that needed to be provided for. And, even if I had to go without, I know eventually I wouldn't have to. I worked 3 jobs at one point in time, but not necessarily because I had to, but because I wanted us to be able to live as comfortable as we could, even though he was still paying child support and not making, the money that was necessary for us to live the way we wanted to. So I did, and then when he left, I did it so I could stay busy. Because an unbusy mind is a terrible thing. Uh, so I did. I worked, but I loved all my jobs. So I did it because and most of the time with children or older people. So it just gave me things to give to others. But as far as James and his child support and everybody else that's on child support, it does get better. And like Courtney said, her and John was crying when he got off child support, because it is a burden, and when you get off of it, it's a burden lifted. For all those, but it is necessary. I'm not saying that nobody should be on child support. Everybody, if you're not, you need to provide for your children. As a man, you need to provide for your children. And if it comes down to being on child support, that's what you do. And you finish paying it, and then you go on and live life. And that's what I wanted James to understand and to do. So that's why I was like, not only do you do that for your children, we are also going to do everything else for your children like they are here.
James was just pissed off because he saw the recipient of the child support going on trips and stuff, and we couldn't go down the street to buy a burger. You see what I'm saying? That's what James's problem was.
Yes, that I do understand, but I see
understandable.
The Most High has a way of blessing those that do not do evil towards others, and then He also has a way of dealing with those that do evil towards others. And I'm not saying that we'll just say it the tables have turned, and the
Hey, Mike.
so it's fine.
What's going on, Nadia?
Hey, Nadia.
What's going on, Mike? Yeah, so I want people to understand this too. Being a husband, being in the role of a husband, and being a father, they're two different roles. And you can't mix the two up, because the husband role is strictly for your wife. And this role is important because you're not raising your wife. You're building your wife. You're building into your wife. You're giving into your mate. The father role, or the Abba, or the Ab, is the protector of the house, because the Ab protects the whole home, because he has to protect his seed. So once the seed is planted and has grown, the father switches roles. He adds another role to his resume. And now he becomes the Ab, or the protector, the provider slash protector. And this is very important. And women, you can't get it mixed up, because there's certain things that a father has to do that he does not do as a husband. A father corrects. A father also nurtures. As a husband plows. A husband digs up. A husband tends to you and your needs. But as for the kids, his role should be completely different. And women have to allow the husband to then be the father. And a lot of times women don't talk to my kids like that. You can't be with don't do that's my baby. No, no, ma'am. That is not your child. Biblically, it's not. And I'm gonna tell you, and I can show you in the scriptures 129 times. Name any time in the scriptures where a child belonged to a mother. It don't. It don't never say. It says so and so begat so and so begat so and so. It don't even put the mother's names in there unless the mother did something miraculous. Unless it was Mary, and that's because the way she conceived was miraculous. Or Rahab, because Rahab was a hoe. I'm sorry, because but those are the things you don't know who. I mean, you don't really, those are the things that they don't mention the soil, but the soil was important for the development of the child. But the seed belongs to the husband, because the seed is really, the woman is to nurture the seed. Just like the ground gives the nourishment to the seed and develops the seed and allows the seed to grow, but it's still the farmer that prunes the seed. It's the farmer that plucks the fruit from the seed. It's the farmer that protects the seed for the next season. You see what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I'm explaining it to y'all this way, because women, you got to let men be men when it comes to their children, not only to your sons, but also to your daughters. Because what I've noticed in the world today, and I have to stay on my girls, especially the one that's out there in the garage right now, because I'm on her ass like a new pair of drawers, tight, because she got to understand that her value is to be the ground one day. And that's the most important job for a woman, is to be that soil. Don't nobody want no soil that can't produce. Yeah, don't nobody want no damn desert. When they come to you, all you look like you good for is holding snakes. I hate to say it that way, but you got to be serious. You got to have rich soil. And so and I want to be able to give my daughter away, like I'm giving my oldest daughter away in May, my second oldest daughter away in May. And I know that the guy that's marrying her, he's getting a treasure. He's getting a young lady that's got her head on her shoulders. She's productive. She's good in what she does. She did in spite of, she was the child that was created when I was 16 years old. She did it in spite of the odds being against her. You understand what I'm saying? But she is going to be, but I'm glad that the Father is giving me enough to give away. And I'm glad that that man had enough courtesy to come to me and ask, can I have your daughter? And I didn't have a problem with saying yeah, but I'm gonna let you know now, she ain't the average. She cut from a different cloth. She'll put them paws on you. She got them hands. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful as a man that I'm able to be a good, productive father. Y'all got anything?
Mm-hmm. We went from husbands to fathers.
Well, because that's all the same thing, It's all encompassing. But anyway, anything, babe? Anything, beauty?
No.
Anything, bees?
No, Unc.
Okay. So everybody, we want to thank you for this hour of your time. We had a blast presenting this to you on the behalf of my lovely wife, April. And
Anybody got any questions?
Oh yeah, does anybody have any questions for us? Anything goes. Any questions?
Anybody want to know anything?
Get your tight fingers on, because if they don't show up, you have to go.
You're monkey man.
This was so great. Love and light. I'm catching the replay.
Thank you, Naughty. Oh yeah, and if y'all get an opportunity, go to Sincerely Yours, Nadia A, and pick up her soap. It's shopsimon.com. Pick up her soaps. They're the only soaps I use to wash this lovely black body of mine.
We can tell because you over there so glowing.
Glowing.
He's like he's dropping weight.
Mm-hmm.
You losing weight.
Oh, you look like you rubbed your face.
Thank you, Nadia.
April is a natural beauty. Yeah, she is.
See shine through.
Brandon
You
Watson.
didn't just do the.
Yes, he did.
Oh, the unboxing. The unboxing.
What unboxing? You got an unboxing you about to do?
I gotta check the mail.
Oh.
Lord, I'm done with you. I'm calling you.
You took that plane off way too soon talking about unboxing.
You got an unboxing?
You like
Why you gonna do it?
We already went.
Nobody even said unboxing. You just unboxing.
I got excited. Boy. I got excited.
So are you gonna do a video of an unboxing, or you was trying to do a live unboxing?
I was gonna do it live, but shoot, I don't have the box to unbox.
Oh, well, do a video then and put a video out.
Yeah, I will.
That's
What's
what I
up,
said.
Damon?
Hi, Damon.
Hi, Damon.
What's up, Dame?
Keep your wheelchair rolling.
That's horrible.
I can't help it. That's my boy.
That's horrible.
That's Wheels. All right, y'all. Well, we don't have any more questions. Thank y'all once again for coming and joining us here at the
next time is going to be on Courtney Cooks and More next month.
Courtney, what's the topic going to be?
Look at Nadia said, leave him alone, damn it. Hey, what's up, NYBs?
No
Salute
time,
to you.
no
What's up, NYBs, my boy? All right, everybody.
I don't think we went over what her topic is.
Courtney in the tub with the.
Oh yeah, we're waiting on Courtney. Okay.
Oh, that's right, blended families. So
yeah,
we'll be talking about blended families on Courtney's panel next month.
So yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Courtney Cooks and More. On the second Saturday of April,
Whoop, whoop.
we will be going to her channel. I think it's going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We will be over at her channel doing the marriage circle, and it will be hosted by Courtney Cooks and More. And go check the mailbox real quick. Run.
He said Yemi got so excited he thought he was a Twinkie to unbox. Oh, thank you so much, Nadia, for dropping her link.
Thank you. See, I got a moderator in the building. Thank you, Nadia. My beautiful moderator all the way from New Jersey. Okay, so we're gonna see if I got something in the mail. If we got something in the mail, I'm gonna do a live unboxing, and it's gonna be exciting. I've been waiting for this for a couple of days, and I'm excited.
Well, I want to see what you got. You over here got me all in suspense.
I know.
Go get
right?
it, Unc.
His mouth got water in too. He's like, yeah.
You must got some food coming.
Oh shoot! Say
Hey.
oh,
Hey,
But you can unbox that if you want to.
Say hey to my love.
hey y'all.
This is a makeup love.
But you can do that one.
Okay, so this isn't what I was looking for, but this is from my my sister-in-law. This is called
Lorraine.
Lorraine Bell, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know what she got.
That package looked pretty.
Yeah, it's a picture of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And she makes some.
It did look like you.
Don't be showing my thighs.
I'm sorry. My bad.
I'm over there getting skinny.
You gonna have these women all up here on YouTube going crazy. Talking about, ooh, look at Jimmy's thighs. Ooh,
Yeah.
he's so sexy.
Well, I'm trying to get the box.
All right, so
I like that label. Her
Mm-hmm. Her design.
Mm-hmm. I don't have one. I was gonna say I don't have anything to open it with.
all right. Oh damn, thank you, baby. So I guess my wife surprised me.
You have to look at them.
Oh,
Get out of here.
so my wife decided to get me some dominoes that I didn't know she was getting me. And they're blue and white, the color of my fraternity. And they got one of my fraternal names on there, Big Six, because I was a 6. Oh, wow. Thank you, love.
Look, he said this channel about to be shut down. Damn.
Like I said, not the unboxing he thought he was gonna do.
Not the unboxing that I thought, but
it was still a surprise unboxing.
yeah, it was a surprise unboxing. So I guess I'm going to land my plane. And I want to thank everybody once again for coming and hanging out with us here at Holla at Jimmy and at the marriage club, at the marriage circle. And I want to thank my niece, my lovely niece, her lovely husband. And we will see y'all in a month. Peace.
At Courtney Cooks and More.
At Courtney's Cooks and More. She talking about land your plane.
I know that's right. Right, Courtney? Tell him.
Oh, shoot. Well, I'll see y'all later. Peace.